What is happening with religion in our world today? So in this video, I want to start the first part of a series discussing the topic of secularization. I think we all recognize that the relationship between religion and culture is changing in the world today, and it's important to try to understand what's happening. So in this first video, I am going to explore what's been called classic secularization theory, and then in other videos, I'm going to critique it and nuance it and talk about a number of different topics. What I want to do through this is talk about the arguments made by the British sociologist Steve Bruce, who has been one of the most ardent defenders of classic secularization theory. So his main theory is that the role of religion in the world decreases as a result of three features of the modern world: what he calls social differentiation, societalization, and rationalization. So Bruce defined religion as the actions, beliefs, and institutions based on a belief in a supernatural being, whether that being is active in the world or is impersonal or is just part of the moral structure of the world. And he defines secularization as the decline in the social significance of religion, particularly the long-term decline in the social significance of religion. Now, these definitions are important because what they emphasize is that what's at stake is the cultural impact of religion. So then it's not just describing changes happening in the world. The issue at stake is whether or not religion is losing influence on people's lives and the culture as a whole. Okay, so the three main features of secularization as argued by Steve Bruce in the classic secularization theory. The first is called social differentiation. This is the process by which different parts of society become more independent and specialized as they focus on a specific instance. So let's take, for example, healthcare. In the past, healthcare was run solely by religious institutions, but those religious institutions did more than just run healthcare. Now, in the modern world, what has started to develop is the healthcare sector, where secular institutions run hospitals and other healthcare institutions, and their sole mission is providing healthcare, nothing else. So differentiation starts to happen. And Bruce gives the example of a family unit. So in the past, the family unit was the unit that mainly dealt with the education of the family and produced its own goods. But as school systems started to develop, the family became less responsible for education. And as industrialization increased, the economic life of the family moved away from the household and to factories and other institutions. So therefore, Bruce argues that religious institutions became less and less responsible for these areas of society and thus had less of an influence on society. Okay, the second process that he talks about is called societalization. And societalization is a process by which human life moves away from local small communities to be organized and influenced more by the nation as a whole. So it's the nation as a whole that becomes more influential on people's lives than the local community. And this becomes all the more prevalent with urbanization as people move out of rural areas and into bigger cities and their suburbs. So previously, people would grow up and be baptized and married and die in a local community. And that local community would celebrate special feasts, events throughout the year, and that was often based on their local church. But societalization changes this. Now, the broader society becomes the basis for the individual's life instead of the local community. And Bruce argues that now religion thus loses its plausibility as competing moral and belief systems emerge. So he says that the emergence of these new systems allows people to question what was once taken for granted. The third process of secularization is called rationalization. And this is the process by which the way people think and see the world starts to become more based on reason and empirically verifiable processes such as the sciences. So social differentiation and societalization both dealt with the way that the structures of society was changing. Rationalization is different. It deals with the way that people think and act and how that is changing. So as scientific technology developed, there was a greater certainty as to the outcomes of certain processes and thus less a need for religious faith. And just a side note here, a number of these arguments made by Bruce have been hotly debated, and most people don't believe them anymore because there's lots of problems with what he's talking about, but I'll deal with that in a different video. Right now, I just want to describe the main arguments of classic secularization theory. So, rationalization. Bruce states that technology didn't just increase our mastery over the physical world, but it also changed the way we think and act. As technology gave greater assurance to the outcome of events, there was a less need to rely on religion and prayer to affect those events. Overall, the process of rationalization, which Bruce admits is more than just technology, lessens the necessity of religion in people's lives. So those are the three main factors of the modern world that are leading to secularization as a part of classic secularization theory. Now, Bruce says that these, however, there are two instances when this is not the case. And he says those two instances are cultural defense and cultural transition. So cultural defense is anytime a group of people's identity is being threatened and they cling on to their religious beliefs as a way of preserving their culture. Now here, oftentimes national identity and religion become very tied, and it's a bulwark against outside forces. Cultural transition is the part by which people transition from one culture to another through maybe something like immigration or industrialization, and again, cling to their religious identity. So let's say someone grew up in Latin America, immigrates to the United States. In Latin America, they grew up in a very strong Catholic community. When they come to the United States, everything in their world has changed. So they cling onto their Catholic faith, and the local Catholic community is a sense of stability when everything else around them is changing. That's cultural transition. Now, Bruce says that these two patterns, cultural defense and cultural transition, lead to a temporary increase in religion, but in the long-term, religious decline will still occur. So, as I mentioned, these are the main factors, the three main factors of classic secularization theory: social differentiation, societalization, and rationalization. However, this theory has been hotly debated and contested, and in fact, most people don't adhere to it anymore because there are lots of problems with this theory and what Bruce just said. So what I'm going to do in my next video is talk about some of the main critiques against classic secularization theory. And then in further videos, I'm going to nuance this, talk about our situation specifically here in the United States, and that's going to paint a better picture of what's going on. I think whether you're religious or not, everyone has a need to know what's going on in the world, especially from a Christian standpoint. In order to best interact with the world, we have to know what's going on in the world. And that's why it's really important to understand the secularization debate and the pros of it, the cons of it. And the pros of it is not whether it's good or bad, but whether it's happening or not. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to our channel. It keeps you up to date on the videos, boosts our channel. Would love for you to give a like to this video. Again, this will boost this video and allow more people to see it. I would love to hear what you think too, so please comment below. I'll respond to all the comments. And please check out our website at culturallycatholic.org. God bless.